Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic plus New and Classic. This is episode number 32, 44, Doubleshot number 31, 38. So we have two Marvel trades from two people who basically are currently Avengers right now. Yeah, first up we have from the Ultiverse, we have Ultimate Iron Man, Armor Wars. Yes, this book was supposed to be like the ultimate equivalent of the classic Marvel story, Armor Wars 1 and 2. The first one is more popular than the second one. It just, different stories. By the way, Armor Wars 2, that was a title sequel only. They put the name there because Armor Wars 1 was popular. This book miniseries version title is Ultimate Comics Armor Wars. And this book, there's another reason I picked both these two books. Because both these two books, at one point, this book here was written by Warren Ellis. And this other book was previously written by this guy. So, Warren Ellis. Yes. This, now unlike the first two miniseries for Iron Man, this one is a lot better written. Because we don't have a guy who was a notorious bigot in Orson Scott Card. Yes, the guy was notorious. Yeah, he wrote Ender's Game. Yes. But in the case of the guy himself, the man has had some very not so nice things to say about people. We have Steve Kurth on the artwork. So, we get the ultimate debut of many characters throughout this book. So, after the events of Ultimatum. By the way, fun fact about this miniseries, this will be the last time we see this armor for Iron Man. And armor, when I first saw it, I was not a big fan of it. I didn't mind the fact it kept the red and gold, it's the silver stuff. It's almost like it was an incomplete armor. That's why I don't like it very much. So this is the aftermath of it, and he basically is trying to recover what is his. So the whole Armor Wars thing is people are stealing this technology. And basically sees his company in ruins. Company building anyways. And he goes through stuff and then meets basically this woman who's in his penthouse. And this is Justine Hammer. Yes, the ultimate version of Justine Hammer. She's got like a repulsor in her hand. Oh, by the way, did you know these two actually sleep together in this book? Yep. So, he's having superpowers, so then he goes down to look for his armors. And comes across a guy who would think, oh, is that, you think with a silver look, is that like the Mark I version of the armor for this universe? I think so. It's coming inside of a jar. What this is, and later on, of course, you have Justine just putting her hands on stuff. She, of course, is bleeding, of course, and of course, Tony helps her out. And then they fly up to the sky, where there is this flying ship in the sky. So apparently, this is like a hospital that Tony Stark maybe owned, maybe. Basically chat for a bit, and then of course mention basically like puddle jumper. Yes, puddle jumper. This is something that, like, I'm sure Warren Ellis probably was probably making a joke here about making a Stargate Atlantis reference. How would I know about that? Because I've seen Stargate Atlantis. That's why. So let me see. Oh, this particular habitat has got a private jet here. Of course, yes. And of course, then later on, it's like, they go with vodka martini, and then she says, where's the bed? They fly off like, yeah, these two had sex. It's like, I always wanted to do that. And somehow I know the bedroom will be floating in liquid Teflon. I do believe, yeah, basically they do confirm her last name is Hammer. You're thinking, wait, Justine Hammer. By the way, I should point out, though, in the main universe, Justine Hammer is a slightly older woman. who is, I think, supposed to be in her 40s. She's about the same age as Tony, and she has a daughter. So look at all the stock data. And then Iron Man starts putting together some spare armor of his. And then comes across... Well, they go to this area in Europe, presumably. But they come across this weird guy. Who is this guy? His name is If Leopold Yankee Thawne. And he knows interesting decor. This decor is severed heads mounted to a wall. Yes, men and women that presumably went after whoever's in charge of this place. And meets this old man here. They chat for a bit, and then the other guy, basically something is really wrong. Type here is kill for daddy. It's like, what the heck is going on here? And then Tony proceeds to vaporize the guy? You're like, what the heck is going on? And then for some reason the guy's head opens up to reveal a tiny MODOK. Yeah, this tiny head, it's frickin' MODOK. So apparently this is supposed to be the ultimate version of Dr. Faustus, who's got a version of MODOK in his head. Then Tony puts on his armor, and they fly to this castle, which basically has dark missile fired at him. And then he has him fighting apparently the ultimate version of Crimson Dynamo. Yes. I'm assuming. Yep, and this fight leads to issue 3, where they fight. Justine, of course, comes in, calms down the situation, and of course, basically have this green stuff with Stark. And he's still in Europe, and then he comes across what looks like to be guardsmen, presumably. Would they proceed to fire on him? And many people die here. And then the Mark 1 shows up again. And Tony ends up in the water. By the way, this book is only 4 issues. Yeah, 4 issues, like I mentioned earlier. So, Tony is saved. And then, of course, Justine helps him out. Then presumably once again they have sex one more time, and then we have this guy, this whatever this robot is. I think it's supposed to be, based on its appearance, I guess this is supposed to be the ultimate version of Arsenal. Arsenal is a robot built by Tony Stark's father. So then multiple things show up, and then he wakes up and places his Project Tomorrow for Cerberus. And he's like, did I miss a good party? And then we meet a guy in armor. And of course, hello there. Have we met? And the guy takes off his mask. He says, just once, when you were too small to remember. Howard Stark Sr., I'm your grandpa. Yeah. So, if you're really curious about the armor he's wearing, which, by the way, here's a better look at the armor here. He apparently is supposed to be this world's version of Ironmonger. You know, the identity that's usually held by Obadiah Stane. You know, it's armor stuff, and then, like, yeah, and then... Then they open the box where apparently it's a severed head. Where, yeah, it's a head. Who looks like Tony. Yes, apparently this organization likes taking people's heads stuffing them and mounting them on people and mounting them on walls. I'm like, who the heck basically does that? Yes, I know for a fact that this happened in DC Comics, but it was for one person, not multiple. Yeah, and then of course something weird happens. Then the armor starts failing, and then Howard Sr. dies along with Justine. Presumably this is what Justine does. And then Tony has a drink with the severed head. And that's it. You're like, what the heck was this? Good artwork. But what the heck did Tony do? Yeah, the ending of this book is very anticlimactic. It's not a terrible book per se, but it is better than the first two books. Yes. Plus, I got this 50% off this book. Yes. So I got this book for $10. Before I do this book, I'm going to be right back. Alright, sorry about that. So, I give the rating of that book a 8.5 out of 10. I mean, the story itself was interesting. I kind of felt as though that you read this book, this is how I felt about it, that there probably was more story here, but probably cut off because either Mario told Warren Ellis or you only have 4 issues. Yeah. But of course, basically, this period of time, it's like they gave him one, they gave him for Hawkeye, Captain America, and Thor. And, well, in the case of the Air 2, Air 3, those were during the Ultimate Comics Ultimates book, while this basically was, comes out after Ultimatum. In 2009. Yes. So, this book is 16 years old. Yeah. But the one thing positive of this book, like I mentioned, it's the last time you see his arm because Tony Stark does not wear his armor ever again. I believe it's destroyed with this book. Yes. But it's like, okay, so let's have Warren Ellis bringing characters from the regular universe into the Ultimate Universe. But Marvel probably didn't want to give Ultimate Armor his own solo book. I guess because the Ultimate version of the character is not as interesting as 616. I have no idea. That's probably the reason for it. So, next up, basically, we have is Storm. Volume 1, Earth's Mightiest Mutant. Which I'm sure is basically a take on Captain Marvel. DC's Captain Marvel. This collects the first 5 issues of Storm, Volume 5. And this book is written by Mira Adali, artwork by Lucas Warnack. And yes, it's a Storm solo book. By the way, this actually is one of 2 books Storm featured. Because here's the weird thing. She is not an X-Team right now. Nope. For the first time in over 10 years, she's not an X-Men. Yeah. So start basically reminding who Aura Monroe is, aka Storm. This very beautiful woman. So then we have basically, or she's Queen of Wakanda, reads our current X-Men Avenger. We have our various outfits over the years. This was from when she's part of Asgard. This is the 90s. This is actually the early basically post AVX. This outfit here. Yeah. So basically, then she puts on the outfit that debuted X-Men Red Volume 2. Yeah, she's no longer the Regent of Akuro. Yeah, no, I don't know why. Like, because in the books they don't really explain. Like, wait, does the place still exist? Was it destroyed during the events of Fall of X? Not that I can think of, no, because that was on Mars. So why it's not present here, I don't know. We have Storm in a place called the Storm Sanctuary, which is literally a spaceship, and it's like, yeah, she basically goes around and saves people. With this other woman's like, I think it's supposed to be Celia Reyes, yes. So after dealing with a little rescue stuff, she's got a reputation. And she's even pulling out basically like a piece of thing off her shoulder. And she's able to heal it thanks to one of her powers. And it's like, can't stop this. And, oh, she does. Missions of the Elements. And Storm Sanctuary is this spaceship that's hovering. And, yeah. So, not everybody's impressed by it. And apparently it's Oklahoma City. And then she debuts this brand new outfit that she will occasionally sport. One thing I at least got to praise, I love this cover artwork. The cover artwork is fantastic. Who does this amazing cover? The covers are done by Mightiest Manahani. I think I'd say pronounce the person's name. These covers are gorgeous. Yes. So, of course, Nicaragua. Of course, Storm is in a brand new outfit running across the water, beating up some pirates. Yeah, of course, gotta be big. And of course, story is called Death by Voodoo. Of course, you see her Air Sanctuary in Atlanta. 14 hours left, 13 hours left, 12, 11. Then she takes a shower. Then her hair starts falling out. Then, of course, like, it's like, walks to this area. It's like, he looks like X-Men. No, I'm sorry, I can't leave my Avenger ID card. Here it is, my card. Oh, well, I'll be. You are an Avenger. And, yeah, goes to this hospital, which is run by a mutant, whose power is medical diagnosis. Yes, she actually can diagnose patients. I'm like, not a bad idea to use as that to be the ability. I mean, he must be a really good doctor. So it mentions about night nurse and force work. So that's a callback. And defenders. It's like, and apparently he doesn't hate mutants. He just doesn't like the X-Men. It's all because they conquer death with their pills. And then she gives basically a red amulet that she was wearing as an apology. So Kingsley could cure it, but he does recommend specialists to help her. And she knows him. After flying with a whale. And then the specialist turns out to be Dr. Voodoo. Yep. Leading to the very next issue. And then, yep. So They deal with this little radiation thing she has in her body. And then, of course, then she goes visit the cast of the Gail Simone Kenny X-Men book. Yep, they have a visitor, and then of course you have her training with Logan, doesn't have powers. After apparently training for a while and while being in the rain, it's like then in the heat of the moment, these two decide to have sex. First time these two have slept with each other since 2013. Yes. First time in 11 years these two have slept together. This is probably something they wanted to do. And then she's paid a visit by a bird who works for Doctor Doom, who is the current Source Supreme. Of course, at the paid visit, of course, then next issue, then she goes to visit Doctor Doom in Doomstadt, Latveria. Then she gets given this fantastic dress to wear in order to visit him. And of course they have dinner, and of course they chat for a while. And someone tries to execute one of his servants, like, yeah, shouldn't slice it, and of course then he gets injured. Then she's associated with her father, but nope. And then we see where this thing, where she's the Eternal Storm in this void. Still the artwork though. And of course, so to leave, and then for some weird reason, we go to the past where we have Eternity, Oblivion, the Living Tribune. I believe this is the original one, not Adam Warlock. And of course, basically, to have a conversation like, and they won above all, which is a character debuted in Immortal Hulk. And then they have the Eternal Madness, who is one of the characters Hickman created, who got killed in this book. Yeah. So he's a wrath, and of course teleported away to Dimensions Manifestations, and they slice that stuff, and then motion carried. And the book ends with Storm back her Sacred Sanctuary, and she's crying. But excellent book. Love this. This was really good. Yes. I haven't really talked about this one yet, per se, but this book is just awesome. Like, it's Storm, be betrayed. Like, yes. Now, here's the thing. Do people mention, oh, wow, hot lady? Nope. There's no mention that she's beautiful. The artwork tells us she's beautiful. Shows how beautiful she is. Which, yes, the whole thing of show, don't tell. And that works for this book. I like the reference to Force Works Defenders because really cool idea to mention those two groups. But this book, which is amazing, I would say there's nothing controversial about this book per se. No, not really. Yeah, it's on my radar. I've never heard it before, but damn, this writer does an excellent job with this book. I give this book a surprisingly 10 out of 10. The writing is good. The artwork is good. I would probably say, out of all the X books I reviewed, this is probably one of my better ones. Yes. Though, my next comic corner is discussing another X book. Yeah. Basically, two more X books. Actually, yeah, there's one more comic corner. At least, actually, two more comic corners left to go. So, I'll do that later. So, that's pretty much it for this particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up is My Hero Academia Vigilantes and their comic corner. Next video.